Hey everybody, Gabe Jenkins back with you. Hope you're enjoying your SolidWorks career, your SolidWorks journey. Today we're going to work on a new skill, something that we haven't used before, but it will be really helpful, and it allows you to be pretty darn creative. So I'm pretty excited about it. It will be helpful for you when you are trying to do assignment number 15 with us. And so if you look at assignment number 15, it's got this weird kind of U-shaped circle. It's like a bent tube, right? And you might be wondering, how would I even make something like that? It's not a simple extrusion. I'm not revolving something around a central axis. It's a weird shape, right? And if you tried to figure it out on your own, it might take you forever. That's part of what the purpose of these videos is to give you new tools and help you understand how SolidWorks can be used, so that you don't spend forever trying to figure out things on your own. You use the tools that SolidWorks has already figured out how to use. Okay, so I'm over here in SolidWorks, and I am going to teach you a new thing. So far we've done extrude boss base and extrude cuts. We've done revolved boss bases and revolved cuts. Today we're going to do something called a swept boss base and a swept cut. Sweeping just means you're going to take whatever profile you want and sweep it along a path which you've defined by putting out a line somewhere. Okay, so we're going to start here. I'm going to make a simple little, I'm going to make a new sketch on the front plane. Let's just make a simple little circle. So it looks kind of like the tube on assignment number 15, right? I'm not going to bother to dimension it because I don't really care what the dimensions are here. So I got this semicircular line. It is a line. It has no depth. It has no solidity. It is just a line that is curved, right? And so if I have a line that I want to serve as kind of the pathway of a shape that I want to kind of draw out along that pathway, I can go here to where it says swept boss base, right? It sweeps a closed profile along an open or closed loop to create a solid feature. So when I click on it, it gives me this dialog box over here on the left. And it gives me two choices first thing, sketch profile or circular profile. Well, let me just show you circular profile first because it's the simplest one. So if I click on circular profile, you can see right away it took that line and it made a circle around it, and it traced a circle out all along the length of that curved line. It thinks of this as a solid feature, right? It is a solid tube, right? And I can change how thick it is. I can make it fatter. Eventually, it's going to get so fat that SolidWorks can't figure out what to do with it because all the circles kind of join into each other. So that's too fat. So let's just leave it as like 20, right? Options, don't worry about these. Thin feature, let me just talk to you really quickly because I know some of you have accidentally clicked on thin feature before. And I just want to really take a quick second and just talk about it. Thin feature, what it does is it takes a line and it gives a line some thickness as well. So if I click on this, you're going to see it took the line that made the circle. If I click it off, you'll see again, there's this yellow line right here, right? And that's the line that is 20 millimeters around my sketch line. If I click on thin feature, it's going to take that line and it's going to turn it into a line with a little bit of thickness. And the thickness is determined by whatever number's in here. So I can make that line a little bit thicker too if I want to. Let SolidWorks think about it for a second. All right. I can make it thicker or thinner. I can make it one direction. I can make it two directions. I can make it mid-plane, just so it like builds out from the center outward. And that's what that does. I don't want thin feature here, okay? So I'm going to click off of that. And so that's essentially what the swept boss base tool does. Now, let me show you this. It does not have to be, a simple, semicircular line or a straight line. I can take the spline tool, right? And I can go like, okay, boom, 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 boom. I want to trace out some shape along this thing. So if I do swept boss base again, I can take this and I can do circular path. And if I click on the pink line right here, and you still need to select the path that I want it to trace out. It's circular, I'm going to click that, and it's going to trace out a little circle path along whatever line I've drawn. Okay. The only time it runs into problems is if you have like a bend in your pathway line that's like really tight, and sometimes it doesn't. The bend is too tight for it to figure out what to do with that, and you'd have to come up with a different solution. Okay, so that's what happens when you take a circle profile and sweep it out along a line, right? It creates a solid shape that matches the shape you just did, okay? Now, let's take a second here and let's go back. So I got this, we'll leave that there. Cool with this, cool with that line, this spline, right? But say I want to trace out a more complex shape than just a circle, right? Sometimes you want to do something cooler. So let's look what happens if I want to trace, for example, a hexagon out along my line right here, my spline. So the first thing I have to do is I have to draw my hexagon. My hexagon has to be located along the ends. It has to be located at the ends of one of the points that I'm trying to sweep it out along, right? So let's say I want to make a hexagon that's right here at that end point. So let's just take a second to make a quick plane. I'm going to say my first reference point is going to be, let's just say the line, and the second reference point is going to be the dot. And you can see it just made a plane for me right there. It's fully defined. I can hit OK. And now if I want to take that plane and make a new sketch on it, I can do that. And let's say I want to, what did I say, a hexagon. I'm going to make a hexagon, and I'm going to locate it right here. Cool. Make that horizontal. Excellent. I'm not going to bother to dimension it because I don't really care. Right? So if I kind of move this around a bit, you see I have a hexagon located right along the end of that line. And let's say I want to sweep that hexagon along the length of the line. Cool. I have to identify in this blue line, I have to say, what's the sketch I want to do? It already knows I want to do the sketch here. You might have to pick on it. You might have to go into your history for a second and figure out where the shape is that you want to sweep out. And then you have to say on the pink line what the pathway you want it to sweep out is. So cool. And you can do that, right? And so all of a sudden it gives you the opportunity to trace out to sweep that hexagonal shape along the length of that thing. If you want to make it, if you want to change the underlying shape, you can. Let's just see if I do this. If I change my actual the sketch itself, right? If I go in here and edit the sketch, if I change the sketch a little bit and I make it a little bit less curvy, right? It should rebuild it so that the hexagon is now traces out. It still follows that same line, but now that the line shape has changed, the hexagon shape has changed as well. Okay, so that is a swept boss base, right? One more thing I want to show you is say here I want to draw another thing on the thing, and I'm going to draw. Let's just say I'm just going to draw a circle now. Okay. I'm going to draw a circle here. I don't care enough to dimension it, but say I want to cut that circle out through the center of that, swept boss base. So we did a swept boss base, and now I'm going to do a swept cut. Okay. Boom. All right. And there you have it. Okay, so we're back. I got my shape. I had to. Okay, so now we're back. I have a circle, closed profile, and it's located along the end of my swept line again. So if I want to do a swept cut, I can do a swept cut, right? So again, I'm going to say the sketch was 164. That's the one I just did. My line is still going to be my line. I can't really see my line anymore because it's hidden inside that shape. But if I go back in here, I can find that line again. There's my line. Boom. And I can hit. Okay, so now it says I want to sketch. I'm going to cut out this sketch from this line. Cool. And you can see it now has the little line, the hole that goes all the way through it, goes right through the center line. And so that's it. That's going to be super, super, super helpful today as you think about how you're trying to draw this tube. Okay? It's a semicircular tube that circle gets traced out along the length of that pathway. All right, so that's a swept boss base and a swept boss cut. All right, everybody, totally new way to make something in SolidWorks. I hope you enjoy it. It will be helpful for this one and for several other ones. Okay. All right, everybody. Have a good one.